What's up, you guys? Welcome to Fightful. I'm Ross Sapp here with a name you know. You've seen him in WWE, you've seen him all over the world, but you're going to see him on AMC starting January 15th at 9 p.m. It's Matt Rehwoldt. But listen, I'm going to tell you of a place where I've seen you before. Let's take a little trip down memory lane. Where
Please.
were you on March 6th, 2016?
March 6th, 2016. Well, that was the year. I know that time of year because that was the year I got brought up to the main roster, but that was before Mania. So that was my final month of NXT at the time. I'm going to be
exactly where you are, buddy.
Yeah, I'm going to pull the classic wrestler back. I don't know. I've seen so many towns, brother. Oh my goodness!
You were in Columbus, Ohio.
That's the Arnold, right?
At the Arnold. That was the second event I ever covered in person, and the first one was the year prior, of which you and Simon also wrestled I don't know, 6 matches combined across. And this I remember specifically because at the time I was like, we're getting this here in Columbus at the Arnold. It was you all versus American Alpha.
Yeah. Dude, that was such a wild, I remember when they announced that, it was like, really? We're going to the Arnold Classic? I get it. We're athletes and, it's a bodybuilding and fitness thing, but it just felt, I'm like, we're basically going to be doing WrestleMania access style matches at the Arnold Classic. It was like, I hope people want to see it. But we did have a lot of fun. You're right. We packed in a lot of very random matches into a couple afternoons.
Oh, you worked Dan Matha twice after this.
Oh my
that was
God.
A fun day.
Talk about a memory trip. Holy cow.
And I just remember those 2 shows because I mean, at the time I was not, nobody knew who I was. So I would cover anything that I could. And I was there and it was 15, 16 matches scattered throughout the day and tryouts. And I remember they had the public tryouts, right? And there was a guy that showed up in an Undertaker jacket thinking he could just roll into the ring and try out.
Oh my
And Matt Bloom was like, that's not how it works, buddy. As Bianca Belair and Anthony Bowens are in the ring doing their drills, you got this guy walking up in an Undertaker jacket.
Hey, for effort or for enthusiasm, at least, that was wild.
Just gonna make it clear, you all went 0 for 6 across those 2.
Yeah, man. my finishing move is looking at the lights. Was that never in my bio? Oh shoot! I guess it wasn't.
I used to do a series called Making a Finisher, and I loved it. I'm going to bring it back where I talked about how people develop their finishers. And I was talking to Robert Stone 8 years ago, and he was like, this is going to be the shortest episode ever. He's like, I lay on my back.
Yeah.
That's my finisher.
It's the easiest one in the game to do. I'll tell you, I could do it with anybody. I don't have to worry about picking anybody up, timing. It's great. I just put my shoulders back.
The advice you always get, make sure you can do it to anybody. You
can lose to anybody. You do it for years. I can do that till I'm 80.
Well, now almost anybody is going to be able to watch TNA every Thursday on AMC. Before Sports Illustrated had put out the word of this was on nobody's radar. I heard nobody speaking about AMC. And initially, when the word comes up, it goes, okay, what kind of deal is it? Is it streaming? Is it the AMC proper? No, TNA is going to be on AMC, the same channel as some of the greatest television shows of all time, like Breaking Bad and the Walking Dead, Better Call Saul. What was your reaction to hearing TNA to AMC?
It was kind of similar. Very few of us in the locker room, and we didn't clock that either, thinking about all the options, because it was very hush-hush, even internally, until the announcement was official. And it was at first it was wait, really? I'm I had the same thing. I'm this is one of my favorite networks of all time. I grew up on Mad Men, Breaking Bad. I can now do all the Walter White jokes I ever wanted to do, and it's all approved. And but I was but I'm it in a weird roundabout way, it really does fit. I mean, wrestling at the end of the day is characters, it's stories. the motto of the channel used to be story matters here. So like, I mean, let's get weird with it. Let's bring the stories and characters, wild as they are, of pro wrestling to AMC. It's going to be exciting.
I'm trying to see Badger and Skinny Pete with the Rascals at some point. Like, that's the crossover I need.
Please put it in my veins.
I don't know. I don't think the Rascals want to step into they keep it pretty casual. I don't know if they want to get into this Badger and Skinny Pete of the world.
I mean, shoot, man. Everything needs a gateway. There's always a gateway drug, right? I mean, hot dang.
But I mean, like, legitimately, Breaking Bad, I think the greatest show of all time. And usually, like, we'll hear if a network has maintained some sort of interest in pro wrestling. This is so out of left field, and it is such a premium channel, as I mentioned. Like, and one of the few that feel like it has never touched pro wrestling before, which is rare these days. Like, because almost every channel and network has had some sort of connection there. But have you had any interactions with anybody at AMC ahead of the debut, or is that something that kind of you'll figure out in this remaining week prior?
I'm not like direct. I do know at our last set of tapings in El Paso, there were a few representatives from AMC kind of just getting the lay of the land of how the shows were working. We're working on the flow of how from our process to their process for broadcast purposes. But I mean, I'm looking forward to potential, as you said, I mean, integration of properties, of characters, IP, whatever it may be, some cross-branding promotion, whatever it could be. But I mean, you're right. We have a chance to kind of carve out something very different, certainly for the network, but hopefully in our own little corner of the pro wrestling universe.
I know that I think it was last year you were announced as participating in Arachnid.
Yes.
How did that go for you?
Look, I feel like if you follow video games at all, Charlie Cox has done this interview, this game Expedition 33. It blew up the awards. It's incredible. But he played a role that was very short-lived, but he kept getting interviewed about it. I'm going to say the same thing about this. The film has done very well at festivals, and I'm very lucky that Luke Perrin asked me. I provided a small voiceover towards the end of the film, so I'm not even seen in the film. So I get all credit to Killer Kelly and Luke Perrin. I was happy to be a very small part of what seems to have been a very cool project.
Is that something you'd be open to doing more of in the future?
Oh my God. Yeah. Actually, that's why Luke asked me, because I've told many friends and different colleagues, voiceover is something I've always flirted with. I've done a few things here and there. I've done some audiobooks and things of the like, but yeah, absolutely. I love that. I come from a theater background, as I've, mentioned many times before. So that sort of thing, playing different characters, I love it.
You also have the Rebooked Wrestling podcast, and
Yes.
There's a couple of reasons I love this. One, all due respect to veterans who do wrestling podcasts, there's a lot of it that's jaded. There is an awful lot of it. It is also not very often you get to hear someone who is actively involved in the wrestling business speak about a variety of different companies and honestly do it from a place of love, not do it from a place of bitterness or anything like that. And that's something I see you doing on a weekly basis on that show. What sort of motivated that?
I mean, that shout out to my co-host Jake Bennett and Golden Boy Alex Mendez. And because that was the thing, it was like they came to me because I had met them through different things. And they were like, I've always wanted a show where I could talk about wrestling because I just love this stuff so much. And I was like, and I wanted to find almost like a reason to be a fan again. I've been just kind of working with it so long, and it's always been about work, hitting the ground, making the towns, doing the shows. And like, I wanted more of a reason to be like, yeah, start maybe watching some of this stuff that you didn't watch or that you've missed, and like, just bring your experience and what you do now, but back and meld that with the love of a fan. And especially, I think it doesn't get talked often enough about how our business, it is an art form. It is stories and characters and through lines. And I think most people talk about the matches, which are at the forefront, and how good they are, the crazy athleticism and the wild things they're doing. But like, we really wanted to approach it from character arcs, narrative sense, like almost like a book club. Like, Chapter 3, which was Dynamite this week. Did that work? Like, where are the plot holes? How is this character developing? You know, Mike Santana or John Cena's retirement, like, as far as narratives. And we're not here talking about whatever they're doing backstage. Like, we just want to focus on what the characters on screen are doing. So it really helped me kind of fall back in love with it as a fan.
I really enjoy watching whenever I get the chance, and I just wanted to shout that out because, I mean, again, I enjoy a show like that comes from a place of loving wrestling. And I mean, obviously, you're still in there loving wrestling. I mean, you're in incredible shape. It's insane every time I see you out there. But, like, are there any talks of you wrestling? And how did you first get approached for commentary in TNA?
So that was a weird time because I joined TNA. It was summer of 2021, and I was wrestling. I was with Deonna Purrazzo and stuff. And then within the span, I had also made a couple of small appearances for New Japan Strong at the time. And within a couple months of each other, both New Japan and TNA asked me to do commentary for shows. And it was really one of those things because at the time in TNA, D'Lo Brown and Matt Stryker were leaving. They were bringing in Tom Hannafin, and they just needed somebody else for Strong in New Japan. And so it was one of those moments of just like, hey, the world is knocking on this door. It's kind of nudging you this way. And not that I'm not proud of what I have done and can, in theory, still do in the ring. I'm not hurt people. So many people always ask that. No, I'm not irreparably injured. But it was just like, the more and more I leaned into it, the more and more I kind of realized that this, I think at the end of the day and at the end of my career, is my superpower in pro wrestling, is behind the microphone, telling the stories. I always say my superpower is getting people excited about the things that excite me, which is why I do the podcast that I do, which is why I dive so headfirst into the commentary and into the broadcasting. And I really, really loved it. And I have not regretted it once.
There's also a unique set of credibility that is applied when we know that you can still physically do it as well.
Yeah.
We know that that's a possibility. And I've always felt like that also helps out. Like, say a wrestler is over there confronting your friend over there in commentary doing the play-by-play. Well, he's got somebody that knows that he's going to have his back and all that as well. I think that
depends on who, depends on why.
I love it. As we start to wind down, a reminder, AMC January 15th. We talked about NXT a little bit earlier. I always like to go back and look at the early parts of people's career, and I found a 1-month patch in FCW, of which you worked with in 1 month, Paige, Claudio Castagnoli.
Oh, I think I know this month.
Damian Sandow.
Yep.
John Moxley.
Yep.
Big E.
Yep.
Bray Wyatt. Big Bill, a.k.a. Big Cass. Rusev. And you also teamed with Richie Steamboat and Seth Rollins during that period.
I believe one of those was one match. It was a 6-man tag in Brooksville, Florida.
Lakeland,
I want to say
Lakeland. It says.
Yeah, that was one of those ones. I was like very new, and they every so often would do that with a new guy. They'd be like, they kind of just throw you in a main event with a lot of these guys and like sink or swim kind of thing. And so like, yeah, like I'm just like politely sitting against the wall as they call the match, and they're like, like you come in, you do like one arm drag, you tag out, and then of course took the finish. But yeah, it was so cool to just be around there and like, yeah, learning from those guys, watching how they put matches together and just trying to be a sponge. That, yes, I won't say vividly, but I strongly remember that time. Wild.
And I mean, that is iron sharpens iron, but here's an important note. The semi-main, Corey Graves was in. The match prior to that, Byron Saxton was in. So who's got the better pedigree? Really, when we're talking about announcers here.
No kidding. I like that is the one that you may not have seen all of it, but like I look back and I'm like, considering who's on top now all over, I'm like, I've worked with so many people. Like, maybe on matches you haven't seen, some of these FCW live events, NXT house shows, whatever. But yeah, I've been very, very fortunate with the number of people I've been able to lock horns with, as they say.
And as we do wrap up, a question that has been on my mind for 7 years. What did happen in Milwaukee?
The world may never know. I mean, look, it's on a videotape. It was, you know what? I'd like to think it was me doing a really bad self-tape monologue to try to get on to like the Surreal Life or something like that.
I love the Surreal Life.
Like that in my character's head canon of like, that's what he was doing, but he was just really desperate for it to not come out. He was hoping it didn't. It was like a bluff. I don't want to have to show you this. I don't want to have to just give me what I want. I don't want to have to show you this. And then his bluff gets called and it's just him like cutting some weird monologue.
We like cooked up conspiracy theories and somehow tied it to the pop singer Mandy Moore at the time. Like I don't know how it was, but I mean, that was a great time. And listen, more great times ahead. AMC TNA Impact every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Also make sure to check out our post show. Matt, it is always a pleasure talking to you. I always learn a lot speaking with you, and I appreciate that. And you guys can learn a lot more by listening to him on commentary every Thursday. I'd like to thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Sean. Always a pleasure.
Until next time, my friends, we are out. I've told you about all the ways that NordVPN.com/Fightful is beneficial to wrestling fans. And that's just on the basic tier. It works on all devices, all operating systems, allows you to change your virtual location to appear from anywhere. But there's so many more other features. You can keep your files protected with a private cloud. You can secure your passwords with a password manager as well. They have cloud storage. They've got MeshNet where you can connect to a remote devices safely and create your own private network. They have VPN servers in 127 countries. They have Threat Protection Pro. You can block malware, trackers, and even ads when you're not connected to the VPN. It's got the ultra-fast connection, dedicated IP, a data breach scanner, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. So for some reason you think you don't like it, you can get your money back. NordVPN.com/Fightful. Head over there, check out all of their incredible features and testimonials at NordVPN.com/Fightful.